get abused if Ice Coke doesn't play heavily around Forge.
That's right, because Forge is going up against Doomby here, and Doomby throughout the last couple of lanes. Do you remember FPX versus EDG, Lyric, the last series that you and I cast together in spring? Excuse me, Doomby against Scout was gapping him in multiple games. So let's see if he brings that same fire returning to the split. FPX on blue, RW on red. And we're curious about draft because in the IG Suiting series, we saw Viego let through a couple of times. We saw Gwen not banned as she is right now. And we get that Renekton ban as well with Ezreal there too. So already a little bit different.
Yeah, the thing we're looking at now is the Lee Sin, right? The Lee Sin was banned in the last series. Lee Sin is something we've seen consistently banned over in NA, so RW are going to take away that one. Now it's about, hey, again, we do have some, like, 80 carries left open that we've been seeing. We were talking about the jungle meta all day of that, hey, those were the expected first picks coming in, the Udyrs, the Rumbles, and then kind of trading on the opposite side.
Okay, Udi going to get locked in first here on the other side.
There it is.
Rogue Warriors, Kai'Sa, and there, yep. Okay, so that sets up a bit of priority here for Ice Coke.
Yeah, now, so again, we have all-in 80 carry coming out from Zhongwuji. It has been kind of the go-to if Ezreal is off the table, as well as Zavaris, so both those are taken off. Senna is something we've been seeing getting banned a ton in other regions, so LWX picking up this one, I feel like it's a good sign for a lot of FPX hopefuls of like, hey, we know we're not really going to play around bot lane much. We know it's going to be more solo lane oriented, which is, you know, always the best for the side of FPX. And this is a solid laning duo that can pretty much go toe-to-toe with anything. You have a ton of sustain. Everyone's seen it 100 times before. And now it just makes me interested. What are we going to get out of Doinby and Nuguri? Because, again, I listed everything that Doinby was playing earlier. He's playing absolutely everything in solo queue. We know Nuguri's a menace. He can pick up the Gnar. He can bring out the Jace. He could even go into those counter picks if we do see a blind pick coming out from Rogue Warriors. But we get a flex. We don't know where this is going. Could be mid, could be top, could be support. Could go anywhere.
I mean, I think that's important for, you know, if Forge does take in the mid lane, right, we talk about safe laning for Forge and making sure he doesn't fall too far behind. With the Karma, it's not that hard to maintain yourself in the lane or even just to hold yourself out. Less kill potential as well. We'll see what Doomby plays into it for the time being. And again, you talked about the flex potential, so I'll hold on that and wait and see where the Karma eventually goes. For now, it's top lane bans against Nuguri. The cannon buffed with the W damage a little bit, so Rogue Warriors seem like they have to take it away.
I do want to highlight one thing about the Karma that's like, hey, you know, FPX have picked a Tahm Kench, so potential to go down there. I think Kai'Sa Karma is a pretty weird lane, right? You typically expect Karma to be either put with like hyper carries that you do want to buff up, or things like the Ezreal Lavaris, or you know what, Caitlyn, things where you can really abuse, like, hey, I'm gonna poke you down, I'm gonna take your turret. So for Rogue Warriors, it's still left to be seen, and they want to take Nuguri off those champions that we highlighted. They don't want to deal with Nuguri today. It's 8917's first game in the LPL. With these bans, I would expect potentially a Gnar pick coming out for the side of Rogue Warriors. Both of these champions are things that historically have done well into the Gnar.
You know, if you're 8917, you're like that random, you know, maybe 40-year-old mum who plays tennis on the weekend, and Nuguri is Roger Federer. And you're like, you know, I need every advantage I can get. Take away the racket if possible. We get the set in the end as well. Another flex potential. And I like this lyric. We do have multiple flexes. Rogue Warriors are not giving anything away to FPX.
That's the thing, right? And theoretically and on paper, it's kind of the best way to draft, in my opinion. Is like, you know, if flexes are good, like getting as many flexes as you can, making it very hard for the enemy to index into one area. But again, I feel like set would make a lot more sense going up with something like the Kai'Sa, like an engaged support in the bot lane, but kind of have a feeling it'll be more solo lane oriented because that's where we've been seeing it abroad. And now for the side of FPX, we see Nuguri getting onto the Gnar. Fine matchup into anything, and is he going to do it? Hysterics. He goes for the Victor.
It's a boring Victor instead. If anyone's running, there's Umi, by the way. Hi to Umi, Doomby's wife, and he's got a big grin on his face. If anyone's wondering why Zoe on Doomby is such a big deal, look at his competitive history and find Zoe for me. Like, this man has always shied away from Zoe, even when it's meta. Picking up the Victor here means that, okay, passive laning phase, we have a hell of a lot of scaling for FPX as well. And we get a LeBlanc in the first game for RW's Forge.
this is Forge's bread and butter, right? Forge is always going to want to play champions along these lines. It's kind of interesting to see it paired alongside the Rumble because, like, I love LeBlanc when you have like a really high kill pressure, like ganking jungler. You can set up very nicely for her, or vice versa, with distorting in and getting the chain. But there's a lot of like long range potential damage coming out from Rogue Warriors, right? Equalizer from afar. You have the Mantra Q from Karma. LeBlanc can distort in and out of the fight. The problem is, it's like, hey, you have a ton of sustain coming out from the Senna on the side of FPX. You also have range on their side with both the Victor and the Senna. So FPX, I think, coming out with a lot more standard and maybe like holistic of a draft. Like, it makes sense. It's something we've seen 100 times before. For Rogue Warriors, I'm interested to see how they execute because, again, Kai'Sa Karma, not the typical lane you think of. They are going to try and bully out this Tahm Kench in the bot lane. You do have some like strong teamfight damage available, but in the words of like when we think about how LS would describe it, right? Like drafts having a theme, having a color. I don't feel like Rogue Warriors draft has a very synchronized kind of play pattern.
It's like a turquoise, a teal or a turquoise. We're mixing things up a little bit. We're not too sure what it is, but at least for RW, I like the fact that the flex potential was played with. I think as well for me, what I love here is you're trying something explosive to start off, right? If the LeBlanc sinks, if, this bottom lane doesn't get too far ahead, if the Rumble as well falls down in CS, it does feel like this composition can suffer a little bit when you have, as you said, such a standard draft from FPX. As we go into game number 1 here, we're going to see if the Phoenix is as strong as ever or if Rogue Warriors have something up their sleeve, especially with this LeBlanc pick. It's a big one for Forge to run into Doomby into game 1. And we're on to Summoner's Rift. Rogue Warriors, the team that finished 17th, only picked up 1 series win in 2021 spring. It was against Top eSports, and it was a lull. This is a statement of an opening, as I don't know what's happening with the background, but it's changing a lot. It's kind of making me ill. FPX are that team that a lot of people said should have gone to MSI. They should have been the representative. But in Game 5, they couldn't push it over the line, and RNG went instead and took down Dumb1 to be the 3rd time ever LPL MSI champion. And here we are, Lyric. More in this game. Standard from FPX, right? You already said it. It is just such a simple draft that is safe and doesn't mind if people come into them.
No, I think it's totally fine, right? Typically, you'd look at something like this and you'd be like, okay, well, maybe if you can like punish it early, maybe if you can try and pull it across the map, there's ways to play around it, because a lot of your damage comes later on, right? You're going to wait for Senna to pick up 80 to 100 souls. You're going to wait for Victor to get a few items under his belt. A lot of the early lifting is going to rely on both Tian and Nuggery to do well. For the side of Rogue Warriors, though, again, I don't feel like they have a great ability to force around the map. You have some potential in top lane, especially once we get the Stride Breaker. If we can force a flash out on R, maybe we can kill him. Bot lane, I feel like, is going to be incredibly safe coming out from the side of FPX. They're going to try and be whittled down. And then mid, we talked about, first of all, your double AP, and 2, there isn't really a lot of good setup for either player's damage, I think, unless Doinby really makes a huge mistake.
Okay, we'll see. He's trading really well against Forge so far, and it is a biscuit lane with Corrupting Potion for Forge, while Ice Coke, the level 3 Rumble, just going from top to bottom for now. I am kind of going to be tracking more of this LeBlanc lane, I feel like mid is going to be interesting from the angle of Forge. Instead of going something like Ignite, he's gone for the teleport here, but has the Electrocute, so just waiting to see if he can abuse something like Kill Pressure at some point in this lane.
That's the thing, right? Because Victor level 1 incredibly strong, so we saw Doinby abusing that in the laning phase. The Q shield, just the damage, it's just incredibly overpowering. We have seen him use up all of his mana. He also did take Aerie in this matchup, which I do see Victor's take it in solo queue in more volatile matchups, especially against champions like Lucian. So not wanting to just let LeBlanc get a lot of these free heavy trades onto him without being able to answer back in some way.
Oh, wow.
And when we look at Forge with the teleport like you're talking about, right, I feel like one of our W's only win conditions might be trying to pull Doinby in members of FPX into a side lane and then trying to find picks that way. But even that, I think, will be incredibly hard with the way the drafts have panned out. And Doonby already forcing the back from Forge. He's going to have to TP in. And, you know, Doonby will, I assume, probably TP in as well. Maybe try and keep up that pressure in that mid lane. But, yeah, I think FPX off to a good start. A couple hundred gold lead because you just look at the CS differentials in both top and mid. And FPX are feeling great.
Yeah, they are. Gold lead about 300 so early in the game. But I want to look on the Rogue Warriors side and just mention that the deep vision there to track Tien is also really nice. Placed down by Ice Coke to make sure he knows where this Udyr is. Got bottom side scuttle too, so for Tien, maybe might be able to find a way through it anyway. The flash in the bottom lane, tongue lash after tongue lash. Crisp is just a menace, and is that his skin, Lyric? Did we get an was there an FPX Tarm? Or is that the Chinese New Year skin? Not too sure. Either way,
I was going to say, that does not look like an FPX skin to me. But I'll be honest, I don't really know much about skins. Nice play coming out from the side of FPX. They're going to look to try to punish this one more. And again, we see that Rogue Warriors are the team that picked the Karma into the Tahm Kench. They wanted to try to abuse this. That's not going the way that they planned. They're actually going to get zoned off the minion wave. We do see Ice Coke making his way through mid, so trying to help Forge get some prio. Potentially going to hover around that bottom lane and try to prevent anything that FPX are trying to do around this lane.
Just look at this path thing. He's wrapped around. I've been told by producers they keep telling me it's Arcana, and I'm wrong about the skins. But Blast Cone over the wall, Tien goes against it while Zhang Wuji and Kai Xuan are so low. Forge here as well, going to be running in, but misses the little chain. And Tien just walks away pretty unscathed.
Yeah, and again, just to keep highlighting this mid lane matchup, it's kind of interesting. Doonby didn't opt to teleport back. Said, hey, again, Forge isn't going to be able to push in this wave fast enough. Going to walk back to lane. Forge slowly built up the wave with Ice Coke hovering around. Doonby just backed off. It did give that window for Forge to look to move. Sadly, Rogue Warriors not able to turn it into much. And for FPX, if we look at the game over the next 5 minutes, what they want to do, I feel like you just keep doing this. Cycle your camps as Tien, allow for these isolated laning phases to come out for both top and mid. If bot lane overextends or anyone overextends, Tien can always just look to punish a mistake, get vision put down, and, you know, at some point look to start fighting over neutrals coming out in this game.
Especially leaving top isolated after the 20 CS lead that's already brewing. Kai Xuan, though, has found Tien. He's roamed up as well. Forge over the wall. The chain will force the flash, and Tien's caught out. Nice from Rogue Warriors as Doonby almost catches Ice Coke there, but the smite comes down. He's healed up. Nuguri flashes, puts him into the wall. Doonby pretty much untouched, and Forge not doing much of anything here on this LeBlanc while he gets rooted down. He has to escape. Flashes himself, and FPX, after losing their jungler, they still fight back, and they burn down Ice Coke.
At least Rogue Warriors were able to find a pick with the fact that Kai Xuan was able to move first to River. So a 1-for-1 overall. I don't think it's too bad, but still, now we're going to see this Scuttlecraft go over Nuguri. So going to increase his own lead. He's sitting up over 20 CS up right now. Mid's been a little bit equalized, but we're going to see with this wave crashing. Should probably only be one minion lost for Forge because it is a cannon wave. And now we're going to go straight into the replay where it's just Tien walking in. Kai Xuan was already here. Forge able to distort over and land the chain as well. But guess what? Backup is coming. You weren't paying attention to the fact that Nuguri had prio in top lane. We also see that FPX's bot lane is here in the wings just in case they're needed. And yeah, they're able to get a nice trade kill on the Ice Coke.
And the flash out from Forge as well, who picked up the kill there. Lucky to survive. It means he does have that lost chapter, which is going to mean something in the lane, right? So for Forge, loses a summoner, but still gains quite a bit of gold here onto the LeBlanc. One of the pivotal picks we talked about here in this first game of FPX Rogue Warriors. Just note, though, even after First Blood, it's still a 500 gold lead. And again, we come back to the start of that conversation, Lyric. Top is smashing. There is almost a 30 CS lead, and Nuguri with a good place ward here, going to spot out Ice Coke. And this Nah who's about to go in Mega probably feels okay to just... All right, I'll take a 1v2.
And it's surprising as well. Ice Coke gonna come in. I think Nuguri should be fine.
That's a lot of damage, but hang on a minute. He's dead. Well, into Mega Nut, probably not the right idea, but 8917 gets a great base breaker. But Doonby compensates. They get the stun down, and, you know, even though you do a lot of damage as Rumble, it's a Mega Nut.
That's the thing, and oh, Kaishuan might be overextended. He does have flash up, so he should be able to get out just fine.
He went in for a deep
he's going to
ward,
pay for it.
How's the range? Close here. One more auto to do it. LWX. He's going to get the movement speed as well, and Kaishuan gives over a soul, gives over a kill, and FPX, just like that, 2,000 golder.
Even with the flash and the heal, the glacial augment coming out, the root as well landed from LWX.
Nice,
Oh, Jung Wooji.
Oh, he's so close, but he's under the turret. He's taken too many shots here, and now Chris just licks him to death.
It was so tragic because that was the kind of play that we were hyped for about Jung Wooji, right? Is that Jung Wooji's going to look for those plays. Sad he was one auto off from being able to get the kill. Once again, stunned, under turret, taking turret aggro. And yeah, overall, thus far, a disaster for the side of Rogue Warriors feels pretty fair to say. But, you know, going back to that top lane, right, we see Nuguri dominating on the Gnar. Let's remember that Rogue Warriors could have picked that champion. They banned out the Kennen, they banned out the Jace. They kind of telegraphed like they were going to be the ones to take it, and then they opted into the set, gave over the Gnar, and decided going into this matchup.
Yeah, they did, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, how
oh
8,
god,
9, 17 feels
hysterics.
on it is.
He is Stridebreaker against Boots, Long-Sworded Dagger.
I saw. He's already got the mythic. He's at 100 CS at 10 minutes. And 2 kills on top of that. You're right. Disaster is the perfect word for it. While up in this top side, I believe, while we're watching the bottom, Tien went and got the Herald. He's got that in his inventory now as well. And I tell you, there's one lane that you can push even further, and that's probably the top side if Tien's interested.
And I mean, heck, he honestly might not even be necessary. Nuguri could probably just find the solo kill right here.
And there's the ultimate right into the wall. 8917 gets a good face breaker, does some damage down, but Nuguri under the turret solo bolo. Oh man, this is not a good welcome game for 8917.
Nope, he is being put in the same position that Civ was in spring, which is, hey buddy, fend for yourself, do your best. In a rough matchup, not performing too well. And yeah, you know, hysterics, it's just bound to happen. We have, again, I think you can fairly argue this guy might be one of the best player in the world. I don't think that'd be an unreasonable argument if we can't prove it. This guy just won Worlds. He was in an LPL final when, again, his team had a ton of roster instability. He's putting people in a body bag every single week. But, you know, just to look somewhere else, we see that Kaishuan bought Vandal Glass Mirror because he's going to go towards Shurelya's. I'll be honest, I prefer Kindle Gem over that. We see this as a common first buy on Karma. But I feel like you're just kind of spending too much gold just to get a little bit of ability haste, a little bit of mana regen that's not really needed. Go for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. We know it's not gold efficient, right? It's not the greatest item. But look, what was great was this. Nuguri just stands under turret for how many shots? 1 or 2? Doesn't really care. Still gets a solo kill.
The question is it great or is it depressing? Or is it both? Because it probably could be both, and it probably is both. But looking at Rogue Warriors and thinking, what are their options, right? We're 11 minutes in. They're 5k gold behind. They have a very disjointed team comp where, again, you have certain members that want to fly in, certain members that want to play from a range. Your frontliner is massively behind. I feel like for them, they just need to go back to the 2020 Rogue Warriors. Coin flip every game, draft a ton of just win lane champions, and, you know, hope for the best.
I mean, look. This is a very honest answer. As there's the equalizer down on Dilby, he walks through all of it, has to flash away, needs the help. As thank you LWX for the ult, he says, but Tien is running towards Ice Coke, looking for a Fanta instead. Nuguri over the wall, but no Mega Narbar as Kaishuan and Jung Wooji roam up. Rogue Warriors are just grouping, trying to create a numbers advantage and try and get something before this game's any further over. It's a 5k gold lead, Lyric, and they tried to find Doomby, but they got his flash. I guess that's something.
I mean, even both Crisp and LWX have picked up their mythic items already. I think, I imagine on the gold graph, Crisp is unimaginably far ahead of Kaishuan at this point in time.
Oh my god!
Like,
run away! Oh,
you know,
man.
The thing is, hysterics, games like this, win conditions go out the window. FPX can do whatever they want in this game. So the thing is, we need to buckle up and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the fiesta.
Well, it is definitely one. Is it 7 for 1? I know the people from Brazil are really reeling in this game, but I think we all are at this point, right? Another turret bites the dust. It's a 6k gold lead. Fiesta, perfect word, Lyric. We're
I
at
mean,
13
actually,
minutes.
it's not really a fiesta when you think about it, but
It's a shellacking. It's a smack. You know, it's it's an
is he
absolute
gonna
smack.
die?
And
Hysterics, can they do it?
well,
Can they take
that's
down
a real
Doomby?
question. But he's playing it super safe. He doesn't have his flash, and even when Rogue Warriors try and look for something, then
We're gonna get excited about anything we can for Rogue Warriors this game.
okay. What would you like to talk about? What excites you here? Because
Well,
I would
Nuggery's
say-
going bot. There's 3 members of Rogue Warriors. They're potentially all gonna die because I don't think he needs to fear any of them.
Doomby's teleporting. Maybe Nuggery dies here, but Ice Coke's already half health. And wow! Against the wall! That was a solo kill on Ice Coke as Jung Wooji running for his life. But a boulder that looks to be a house actually secures the double. 6-0 and 2. And Nuggery is playing Challenger versus Gold.
Yeah, this man is just built different. He's, I wonder what his thought process is being in games like this, right? Because you imagine for FPX, right? I mean, if you don't know, if you're on a team, top teams scrim other top teams. You don't typically really scrim, like, maybe you'll put a mid-tier team every once in a while. You typically don't then scrim the bottom-tier teams of your league. So this is probably an interesting experience for Nuggery that he hasn't had in a while.
Yeah, this is... But do you think you'd learn anything from this? Because obviously, not throwing shade on Rogue Warriors, like, I think a lot of our newer audience will wonder, well, you're being rough on Rogue Warriors at the start of the split, but in LPL with 17 teams, we can usually tell, like, what team is going to struggle, what team is the developmental roster, right? I think
Also,
for
to be
FPX,
fair, right? I don't even think this necessarily has anything to do with Rogue Warriors at this point. It feels like with compositions, right? Just Rogue Warriors are hard forced for options. You're playing this comp where you're 9k gold behind against a Victor, a Senna, a Tom Kench, the enemy Gnar is massive. Like, who knows? We go into game 2, maybe Rogue Warriors change up the draft. Maybe they find, some kind of like sneak pick in mid or something like this where they can pull out a game. Just this game, with the way that the draft went, with the way the early game went, they now need FPX to commit a travesty of mistakes.
That's right, and they need to fall and fail, but with the second Herald, they're going to be able to charge mid here. We'll have to look for second game here from Rogue Warriors. What they change, because to clarify as well, I think it's also important to note that for RW, a lot of tricks up their sleeves is what we hope after seeing the draft here. But dodging for the equalizer is 8917, sets himself up, but the Piercing Darkness destroys him in the end, while Nuggery wants another kill. He won't find it. Tien will get donated that one, and after the double, you know that Rogue Warriors are in trouble. 16 minutes in, Lyric. They have a Herald.
Can they do it?
And they're
Can they
5
do
stacking.
it?
I think they can.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to push out. They still have one more charge coming out from the Herald. Their wave is about to be here. Some members low, but they still have the Q sustain coming out from Senna, and it's over! It's going to be over, Hysterics. 16 minutes and 50 seconds.
Forge is trying to jump in. Jung Wooji's waiting for his jungler. The Nexus is exposed. 17 minutes, man. Fly, Phoenix, fly. This is, that was an absolute stomp.
I'll be honest, I just don't know how I'm supposed to feel after this game, right? Like, are you happy for FPX? Are you sad for Rogue Warriors? Are you confused? Are you somewhere in the middle?
Dude, that was an 80% speed run. That was beautiful to watch, but also very sad at the same time. So, let's hope
It's
Rogue
one of
Warriors...
those things where it's like, it's nice because, right, FPX is a contender, so we want FPX to beat teams that they should comfortably beat in manners like this. For the side of Rogue Warriors, you just kind of hope, hey, can you mentally bounce back after something like that? Back in the old CB Law, when I was coaching Team Flamingo, it was one of the only teams I ever coached that when we got stomped, it felt like you can brush those off because it's like you can point at tangible things of like, well, A, B, and C happened, so we lost the game. Like there's no more like fundamental concepts. It's like, oh, well, this lane lost and this happened that shouldn't have. So hopefully Rogue Warriors can have something like that, bounce back, maybe change up draft a little bit, maybe go with crazier picks that are more aligned, Go LeBlanc with like a crazy aggressive top laner that's winning its matchup with, an Elise in the jungle or Elise, I don't care. Pick something crazy, go in, or go the opposite. Take FPX's comp scale and hope that in lane it's not as bad. Who knows? Do something different.
That can put up a challenge, right? Like, because you were talking a lot about the draft not having a color, not having a flavor. We see the LeBlanc, we see the set, Rumble, but then we get that bottom lane is like the Kaiser Karma, and there's a lot of moving parts working against each other to a degree. So little bit of a shame from Rogue Warriors, but again, for FPX, clean play. Nuguri gapped 8917. I'm sure 8917 there with a notebook right now, writing down what happened in this lane. How do you analyze a 17-minute game? Well, you said that was it. That was over. We thought it was over probably 7-8 minutes into the game, and we sat through the last 8 because we're very polite. So you don't leave the dinner table until everyone's finished eating.
And Nuguri solo dove 8917, and it was sick to watch. He had some great ultimates. So, we're still getting a show from, again, at very least the best top laner in spring split of LPL 21, former world champion. So we're going to look towards next game. I feel like one potential point where we highlighted in our opening segment is Zhong Wuji. We want to see something more out of him. He was the only member of his team that apparently was able to really keep up with the opposing lane. Though, then again, I guess LWX is on Senna. So, yeah, I don't know. Zhong Wuji almost had a sick play where he was be able to get a solo kill. Didn't work out. Hope to see you next game.
I thought Zhong Wuji did the most damage, but I was just very confused by the bar there.
I'm very confused by the bars as well.
Why does he have a bigger one? Why is Zhong Wuji's bigger? I don't know, but maybe he's more important. He did have that cool play on the bottom side. You're right. I was sad when that didn't work out. I think that was the one play where I saw the potential for Zhong Wuji. But yeah, bit of a sad game for Rogue Warriors. However, Nuguri with 13k damage, not a bit of a surprise. Wasn't an 18-minute game, guys. It was 17 minutes and 7 seconds. So the fastest game of the split so far.
I was going to say, we start off the day with, hey, we get 3 games in our opening series. And I always start off with, like, the bench line for the record of summer 2021. And we're going to see who gets to beat it. We're going to see if FPX themselves get to beat it next game.
Yeah, you'd hope so, because if FPX do that, then you think, well, they're coming into the split real streamlined, real strong. Again, the team that almost made it to MSI, the team that almost beat RNG in the game number 5. A lot of people saying that FPX should have won the final, all these different kind of things where you think, well, they didn't. At the end of the day, they have to, recoup their reputation. There we go. Got there in the end, ladies and gentlemen. Their mojo. We need the mojo. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Break time. It was a quick game. The break won't be longer, and we'll get into game 2 right after this.